Hey everyone, welcome back. So for today's video, I'm going to talk about the major transit of Saturn and Rahu, which is happening in 2025, which is in the Pisces and Aquarius. And these two signs represents one of the very major things that you can already see in this world, which is AI and also very futuristic plans and technologies that is upgrading. So let's go for the topic of today. So these are the major transits that I'm going to talk about. So if ever you have any planets in these placements, which is Pisces or Aquarius, or you can see which house it is represents. For example, where is the number 11th in the chart? You can look at that. That is Aquarius. And where is the number 12? That is Pisces. So you have to look in that way. Can be very easy understanding for you. So these two signs, wherever it sits in wherever house it sits, that house will be playing strong thing in your life in 2025. So for example, as I said, second house is 11th and third house is 12th. So the major thing that you can going to be see for these people, obviously these people are Capricorn ascendants. So because 10 is the ascendant lagna, and then the second house is 11, which is Aquarius, and third house is 12, which is Pisces. So the major thing that you want to see is obviously your effort and also your assets. Your assets and your wealth, which is second house, and it can also represent how much is your wealth or what you are doing, what you are not doing. Are you really preparing for your savings? You have good enough bank balance, and your family business, whatever it is, that is the second house. And third house is your effort. So how much effort you are putting in and how much work that you are doing. And most importantly, the most unnoticed thing about third house is your self-esteem. That is the major thing that is going to be played in your life. So this is how you will do the readings. So I will give the major things about each sign, so it's easy for you to understand. So you can just follow with your ascendants, with your lagna, or with your moon rashi, or with your mahadasha. These are the three main things that I would always say. So if you have any planets in this signs, Pisces and Aquarius, obviously that planets become very powerful. So that is how it works. You just have to follow where is the 11th and 12th number in your chart. So just follow that. So if you have any of this number in your first house, then let's go for the houses. So first house, obviously it represents yourself. The major transformation will be happening according with your look, with your entire personality and whatnot. And this can also represents you may have major multiple personality if Rahu is involved here. If Saturn is involved here, then this can represent there is huge, very stable. You can have this thought of want to have stability in life, or you want to have the slow, consistent way of living. You can have this all. And if in your birth chart Rahu is in an earth placement or Rahu is in a water placement, then this can represent you may have with you want to have that very slow living life, all of this type. And also first house not only represents yourself, it's looking directly at the 7th house, which is 1/7 exists, very important exists. So this can represent you may have some expectations with your partner, and I would say be very cautious about that, because your expectations may go very over the board, and that can really ruin your relationship. If you're in your relationship, if you're looking for a relationship, then this can be very hard for you. So be very consistent with your way. Don't have too much expectations, or don't put too much pressures on someone. If this is not working, it's not working. So always have that clear-cut communications with your partner, or with the friendship, family, whatever it is, because it represents literally your entire life is going to be very transformative for the upcoming year. So next we are going for the second house. Second house can represent, this is all about your business, your ancestors, and this can also represent your family business and your how much wealth and savings this is going to be in your life or in this year 2025. And this can represent whenever second house involved with this thing, make sure you have that proper planning for your savings and for your financial stability. And this can also represent if you are starting a business, if you have business ideas, do not say it loud, just be whispering. Don't ever say it, because the moment you say it, it's not going to happen. So be very, very careful with that. And your ancestors' wealth or your past life gift may come. Why? What is directly from the second house? It's the eighth. So this can represent you will have very deep down transformation more than your physical look. Unless your first house is also impact, then yeah, you will have it both. But if it is second house, then this can represent you will have very intense transformation within your mind and also mentally and emotionally. So this things can represent, and this can also represent you will have very weird encounters, or you will suddenly get to know some mantras all of nowhere. This can happen. And this can also represent, be very careful with whoever or where and who, why, how, whatever it is. Do not share your ideas, do not share how much wealth you have, and be very, very specific when you are speaking to someone. Have that limitations, and don't be too much friendly. This is not the year that very friendly year. Not in a bad way, but I would say this is a very professional year for you. The upcoming years is a very professional year. The year that you are going to focus about money, money, money. That's the thing. So that is the whole focus. And when I say ancestors, probably you can have very intense dreams, very vivid dreams. This can happen. So watch out for the signs. They may show you the way. So that can happen. So that is for second house, major things that I'm focusing and explaining to you. So the third house, this can represent your self effort. So if your second house and third house is involved, then this can represent you have to put effort for your financial stability, or you need to put effort with your consistency, with your earning, with your money. This is the thing. Or you need to put proper relationship, good relationship with money. This is how it presents. But if solely this is just about third house and there is this signs involved, is Pisces or Aquarius, then this can represent, it is very much unique way you should really showcase yourself. That is the only way you can gain your self-esteem. And do not ever, ever, ever make friends at your workplace. That is not going to work in your life. Your coworker is a coworker in your life. They are not your friends. So always remember that. Unless only one or two, I would probably say not even two, one can be friend in your life. But still, I would say be very cautious about that. Because third house also represents, can have that unbalanced energies coming up upcoming years. So be very specific of where you are putting your effort and why you are putting your effort, for what, how, when. All of this represents, and everything is all about your effort. If there's no effort, there's nothing in your life. So this is going to be entirely focused about your confidence, your self-esteem, and also entirely focusing about your effort and where you are putting it. That can represent very intense transformation will be happening in that area of your life. So that's for third house. And your fourth house, this can represent obviously your family, but this can also represent vehicles, and also you may have properties, or you want to have a home, you want to buy a house. This is actually a great year for you. So you should put effort there and you may achieve it. I wish very good wishes for all of people who are having this placement here. May your wishes come true. If you want to buy a property, if you want to buy a house, vehicle, this is actually a great year to go. So another thing about fourth house is also can represent homemade business, or this is about you are doing a business in homeland. It may take time, but it will be very successful, especially if Saturn is here. Rahu, be very unique. Be very, you need to have that social media marketing. You need to have that unique way. Technologies should be involved. Why technology? Saturn is also technology, so don't forget that. This is why I say always make sure whenever you are doing business, you can't go with the traditional way. These two signs is not, even though Pisces can be seen as traditional because Jupiter rules, but one thing, Pisces is a water sign and also it represents the ocean of wisdom. And right now, the wisdom that we are having is a upgrading technology world. So you have to compete with that. You have to really be upgraded as according to the trends, according to the life that we are living right now. So this can represent that. And this can also represent if you want to have that business, if you want to start that business, probably is a good time. Not like you all of a sudden go and start. No, take your time, do your research and see and start as a small business or passive income or your side hustle, and then you can do it as a main. This is how fourth house can also represent, and also this can represent your family and how if you have a good family, well, bless you. That's not everyone can have that. So that is one thing you need to remember. If ever you are having issues, always have that very clear cut communication with your family members, because there can be misunderstood or misunderstanding can be happen, and you really need to be very aware about what words you are using. Don't use any kind of harsh words, and having issues with your family, that is not really nice thing. But sometimes if you have toxic families, it's pretty much you have to have that distance and maintain your peace and also focus on your job and whatever that you want to do. That's the truth of it. So that's the how fourth house works. And this can also represent, and I say vehicle, whenever you're buying a vehicle or a house, please make sure you are looking at your numerology and take with that number what is working for you. Or if there is any astrologer out there near you, consult them, look out, or you yourself can even do your own self study. If you're interested, then why not do your own research, learn, and then get that number, get that house, get that vehicle, so that it will last long in your life. So that's how fourth house. So fifth house, obviously, restrictions. So this can represent, when I say restrictions, don't always think restrictions of the romance. Who says that? Restrictions may come up when you have too much hobbies. That's the fifth house, because people always think that fifth house is all about romance, love, children. But one thing, it's actually the house of hobbies. So you should be you should have hobbies. Even if you don't have, that will be a problem. If you have too much, that will be a problem. So you have to have that balance in your life. And this can also represent whenever you have any hobbies that you want to make as a passive income, the upcoming year is a good start for you. And this can also represent fifth house romance can be very much high standard, and this can also represent you have to put more effort than you are expecting from your partner. You have to put your effort. Why? Because when I say Saturn or Rahu, both are malefic, so obviously don't ever forget that. Why? Even though Saturn represents consistency, hard work, long term, he also represents slow moving planets. So this can represent whenever you are getting involved any person or any relationship, especially this year, it's going to be long term and slow. And karma, who's the god of karma? Saturn. So for good or bad, obviously it represents that So be very wise who are you are choosing with, to be with, to get into relationship, to get into marriage. Rahu involved, this is going to be very much innovative and very much transformative relationship will be happening in your life. So be very cautious about that and don't trust anyone blindly. Test the water before you get into a relationship, into a marriage, whatever it is, and be very, very clearly explained and be very honest and clear with your partner of what you are expecting or what is your nature truly. So if you are hiding, if you are not having that honest conversations, that clear understanding, this is going to be very much testing the loyalty or the loyalty of the relationship. So that's how fifth house can represent. And having a child, I would say think really, really deeply and all the things. If you are really capable, if you really want to have a child, then yes. If you don't want, then obviously talk to your partner. This is how it represents. Fifth house can represent this very clear communications. The communication skills is really needed for you for the upcoming year, and that can also represents when I say hobbies. You have to focus on your hobbies. When I say balance, you have to have balance. If you don't have balance, your hobbies may turn into a nightmare, and that can actually stress you more than the any other issues in your life. So be very wise with whatever that you are doing, particularly regarding this house. So that's for fifth house. So next we are going for the sixth house. So obviously sixth house represents your enemy, past life karmas, and also disease and whatnot. But this is also one thing that you need to remember. Sixth house represents the clearing of your karma. So this year pretty much can be intense for you, but for good or bad, we need to look at your chart, but in a good way. You will clear off so many karmas in your life that you will see it is actually clearing off, that you will feel like a burden is off from your life. And this can also represent if you have any health issues or if you have any kind of enemies, competitors, business rivals, or any kind of issues with your workplace. This all will be resolved. And this can also represent you will actually stand up for yourself. If you don't stand up for yourself, then stand up for yourself. That's the only thing you have for you. So always be very confident. I wouldn't say overconfident, but be confident and know who you are. So don't let anyone step upon you or be a people pleaser. This is not the time, nor you should doing that. It doesn't work. So that is the sixth house. And the next is seventh house. Oof. Seventh house obviously represents your partner. And this upcoming year, for people who have this signs in the seventh house, this can represent your partner can be overpowering or you will have a lot of misunderstandings. So if there's no clear-cut communications, then this can definitely lead to breakup, divorce, and whatnot. So be very, very cautious about that. In a good ways, this can represent to strengthen your relationship for a very long term. Most of the time, if you see, these are the timing people will have marriage, that marriage will last long. So that's a good thing. But for the understanding, you have to speak more than your partner. So you have to put more effort, more than your partner, more than your wife, your husband, whatnot, including with your children and including with your siblings. If you have siblings, there's any kind of issues, arguments, try to resolve that. Try to forgive. If you can't, then just back away. Forgive yourself and just lead your life peacefully. So if you're keeping this kind of revenge or you are having this heartbroken thing, it's gonna be very hard. It's gonna be very hard for you to move on. So always forgive yourself and go with the flow of your life. And seventh house also represents your fame, your public image. So this can represent for good or bad. You will have that recognitions. You will get that fame. Probably people will recognize you suddenly for your work, for whatever that you're doing. So this can actually represents very good for the people who are in social medias, people who are in influencers or celebrities, you can see. But there will be up and down, especially if Rahu is here. Saturn can be represents the up and down, but most of the time the consistency will be there. For Rahu, obviously very transformative, but Rahu can also represents very sudden fame, like unexpected fame or in fame. We never know. So that's how seventh house works. And seventh house represents you have to put effort with your appearance, with your dressing sense, with your look, with your skincare, with your how your hair looked. See, not like me. You have to dress up. That's can represent seventh house. So that's the major thing I can see for now in this signs. And for the upcoming year. So next we go for the eighth house. Eighth house represents obviously major thing. Eight itself is the sudden events and major things. But one good thing about eighth house is, I wouldn't say one, it's actually a lot. Eighth house, if there is a Saturn here, this is going to be very much occult, and also this can also represent you will have very vivid dreams, and also you will have sudden gains in your life that will be very much beneficial for you, very unexpected gains in a good way. For not so nice part, this will be you can having this nightmares or sleepless nights, so be very careful with that. And if you want to have any kind of protections or whatever it is, Hanuman Chalisa and Durga Kavasham or Durga Chalisa, you can literally listen to these mantras and all of this. It can help. Obviously, whenever you are praying to them, they will definitely help you, because Durga, Hanuman all represents the protections. So you can actually probably become the devotee of them. If you're not, who knows? Because this, as I said, 8th house is very unexpected things. It can happen. And this can also represent 8th house, the sudden trip that you will took. It will be very unexpected, but it will become very life-changing for you. So this can represent the 8th house. And also 8th house represents, if you are someone into occult, then be very careful what you are reading, what you are doing, the rituals and everything. Be very specific, because if simply you do something and it doesn't work or it goes the other ways, you don't want to do that, or we don't want to have that result. So be very cautious with that. And also this can represent for the people who have in-laws or you are getting married. This can represent you may have that long lost relationship with your in-laws. And another thing about 8th house is you will be someone who is very much engaging into doing your research, or you will trying to find the answers and simply don't listen to any other gossips or whatever it is. So that's for 8th house. And 9th house, obviously your education and the way you are learning things, it can be very much life-changing for you. And you will suddenly have interest into different field, or you never have interest, or you never thought you will have interest. So suddenly you are in a management and suddenly you have interest into medicine. Who knows? So that can happen. And also this can represents, look at Jupiter. Where is Jupiter in your chart? Pretty much very much powerful. And Jupiter can also represents will give major change into your education field, and will give very good wealth for your wisdom, for your learning. You may meet your guru at this time, at this coming year, probably. Best of luck. My best wishes for you. Because one thing about Saturn or Rahu, your guru can be very much tough, very much strict, very much, the old type of old guy, or old type of granny who can be like that. So yeah, they can be very much nitpicked, and but it's actually you will enjoy it because you want to improve yourself, so you really love it. When they are criticizing you, you will improve yourself a lot for the ninth house. And ninth house also represents your religions and your belief systems probably will be changing, or you suddenly have interest into something that you never thought you would have interest. As I said, different field of study, this can also happen. And if we are seeing not nice way, ninth house can represent you may have very self-centered views. So be very careful with that and don't be overconfident. And if someone have some kind of opinion which doesn't resonate with you, well, you need to accept that it's their opinion, not yours. So don't have that arguments or useless arguments and waste your time. So that's for ninth house. And 10th house, obviously your career. Now 10th house can represent, this is actually major time for people who have these signs in the 10th house. Very unique effort, innovations, or creative type of energies already coming in. So you have to put effort into creating whatever that you want to have as your career. And this is also the right time to have that whatever image that you want to have towards the public. You want, okay, I want to look as a singer. I want to be looked, or I want to be a painter, or I want to be a doctor, whatever it is. It actually, this is a good time for you to do it. Not so nice side, this can represent you may have overconfidence and it can lead to failure. So be very careful with that. And also 10th house represents you may, if you are working, you may have very stressful boss, or the due dates of the projects whatnot will be suddenly changed. This can be happening and you have to be very well prepared. Be very spontaneous. This is the year that you should be very spontaneous here. It can happen anything or everything at any time. So be very careful, especially with your career. So be ready with that, with your also with your financial savings. So be very well prepared. And that's for the 10th house. For the 11th house, your social circles will be very much changing and will be very much refined if the Saturn is there. Why? Saturn represents, he will bring up people that you will learn from them. And also this can represent you will meet people who are very well experienced, who have very well knowledge, and very old soul type of energy people you will meet up. If Rahu is here, you will meet very innovative, very weird, or very unique type of people. And also they will be very much eccentric type of people. So this can represent. And another not nice thing about the 11th house is you can be feeling lonely at this time, even though if you have a lot of friends or family, because this is the time that you should be intro perspective and actually spend time with yourself. That's why it is you are having this transit right now. So spend time with yourself, learn who you are, why you are here, what not, and all of that. So that can happen. And the last one, 12th house. So 12th house can represent, this is all about spirituality, moksha karaka, and whatnot. So if you see, this house can also seen as another thing is a kedu. So detachment can be happening, and this can also represent detachment. We always say detachment is a painful, but in this transit, detachment can be a relief for these people, whoever having the signs in the 12th house. This can represent you will have that very heavy burden to lift off from yourself. And finally, you are clearing off your karma, and your life, your timeline is changing for a good one. Unless Rahu is not well placed, then you have to be very careful. Very careful with your long-term travels, and if you are traveling very far away, be very careful with your all the important stuff and everything. And if Saturn, then obviously you have to put a lot of effort for your spiritual life, because he's not gonna giving it in a easy way. If you are trying to look for a guru at this time, then I would say be patient. Your guru is on the way, definitely. So be very patient and be very consistent with your work. If you want to achieve something, you have to be very consistent about it, including with Rahu's being here. Be very creative, be very innovative, and also 12th house can represent, if you see, the AI is coming up a lot. So be very cautious about that, because too much of anything that goes too much is never good. I always believe this, and 12th house can represent that as well. So if you are involving with the AI, new latest technologies, be very careful with your privacy and whatnot, so that you don't have issues in the future. That will help you. And also 12th house can represent very much intense dreams. Suddenly something like out of nowhere, you will have these dreams one of those nights, and the dreams will be like from your past life actually. So that can happen. And 12th house also represents your energy can be wasted, so be very careful where you're putting your energies and for what you're putting it. And is it good for good result? Is it beneficial? So think about that. So I think I already covered all the houses, and these are the basic things that you can read the chart and easy for you to understand. So if we are going into deeper with the nakshatras and the degrees and what is the direction, whatnot, then you will see more deep into details about this transit. But overall, I would wish best of luck, and it is a good time for you to invest in yourself and with your imaginations, since Pisces is imagination, and Aquarius, obviously Aquarius itself is another thing about imagination, and also innovative. That's why I'm using that word, very innovative ways to invest yourself. So that's overall. I hope this one helps, and please don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe, because that helps me a lot. And see you guys in my next video. Bye.